Hey everybody, this is Vera Nazarian, and I'm going to tell you how to pronounce words in Atlantean, which is the language of the Atlantis Grail series. Now, I have all kinds of names and words and things to get into, but I may have to split this video into more than one, so we'll see. But anyway, I'm going to first give you the main ones, and let's just to start out to be fun. Here's to all of you. This mug, as you can see, it says Nefero eos im amrevu, which means good morning, my love, or actually literally my beloved. So Nefero eos, good morning, or lovely, it's literally lovely, Nefero, beautiful, eos, morning, and im amrevu, my beloved, im amrevu. So Nefero eos im amrevu. Okay, now let me start to give you some names, and we're going to have all kinds of fun ways of kind of expressing them. Now, as you know, the Atlantis Grail series basically takes place in the near future. It starts out in the year 2047, and then it goes on from there. But a lot of the things it talks about are ancient past. Basically, the time of Atlantis is supposed to be like before ancient Egypt, before ancient Greece, all of that. So it's very, very deep antiquity. Now, the languages that I used and to made up basically in the Atlantis Grail series are based on ancient Greek and ancient Egyptian and a smattering of other kind of prehistoric things. But let me just see if I can explain some things here. For example, everybody wants to know how to pronounce the name of the main hero character, which is Aeson Cassiope. Now, we know that his name is Aeson, or you can just say Aeson, which will be the more Atlantean pronunciation. But in English, it's like Jason without the J, so it's Aeson. It's very, very simple. So Aeson Cassiope, and that's the name of the dynasty, the ancient dynasty that the Atlanteans had, and that's Cassiope. And it's basically the word that comes from Greek, as you probably guessed. The Cassiopeia was one of the characters in ancient Greek mythology. Now, and also it's basically it's like a constellation in the sky, and it's all good. The basis of the series. So let's see what else we can do now. Aeson Cassiope. Now the other person a lot of people want to know how to say his name is the dark-haired, handsome, hunky Xelio Vekahat. Now, some people may want to call him, because it's the X letter, and usually you say it with a Z, so Zelio is okay too. If you really want to use it that way, you can pronounce him like that. Or Xelio would be a more accurate, because that's kind of like based on ancient Greek. And again, the language is a mixture of Greek, a little bit even like, Persian, anything that's really, really hoary and ancient has gone into creation of this language. And I call it Atlanteo. So Xelio or Zel or Xel, you can say either way, because I think it's a little bit uncomfortable for some people to pronounce K and two consonants together. It's hard. But for somebody like me who is a Russian native speaker, it's kind of what we do. We say things like Здравствуйте, which means hello in Russian, and it's like Z, D, R, three consonants together. And I think a lot of Slav and other European languages can do that, but some people in English just do not want to say that. So Xelio is the proper way to say it, but you could go ahead and just say Zelio or Xel for short, and Zel. And his last name is Vekahat. And the other name that's associated with this family, which is his cousin, who basically mysteriously died. And we have not told you yet in the books how that happens. So her name is Elikara Vekahat. Now, let's go on to the other characters. Now, we have, let us see what else we have here. We are going to talk to you about, of course, there's Oala, which is the other Atlantean, one of the fabulous four, the Astra Daimon. So Oala, and her last name is Kegeri. Keigeri, Oala Keigeri. Now, the word itself, Astradaimon, is also based a little bit off the riffing off ancient Greek and even a little bit of Latin. So, star demon, Astradaimon, and that's how you say it. So now her very, very much friend, or shall we say a little bit more than a friend, is a great friend of Aeson, and we know him as Keruvat, and Ruo is the last name. So Keruvat or Ker, and you just say Keruvat, Ker, Ruo. Now, who else we have? Let's see. So we went through the fabulous four: Oala, Aeson, Keruvat, and of course there's one more we forgot, and that's Erita. Erita Kwas. Now, Erita is there's a shorter way of calling her yet, but I don't think I've mentioned that yet. I think you only get to see that in Survive. So Erita has like a little bit of a nickname, but you'll discover that later. So now let's see who else we have. Okay, people, you really, really want to know how to pronounce this guy's name. The fish guy. You know him as Anu Vei. Anu. And the accent falls on the first letter, the first vowel. So it's Anu, not Anu. Anu Vei. And his friend is his other aide, who is basically the person who works with him for Aeson. You're gonna want to say, and this is a weird one because I myself keep on changing it how I pronounce it. It's Genyo, okay, and it's Rukat is the last name, Genyo Rukat. But you may want to say Genio, but I really don't think that sounds really good. I mean, it just sounds kind of weird. But when I say it in my head, I kind of flip back and forth. So I think if you say Genio, it's okay, but it's Genio because it sounds, instead of like Jenny, which would be a little strange. So his name is Genyo Rukat. So we have Anuve and Genyo Rukat. Now, who else we have? We have a whole bunch of fun favorite characters who are basically people in the actual games of the Atlantis Grail. Now, you guys want to know how to pronounce those names, right? Okay, so we have Deneb Gratu, the big meanie. Deneb Gratu is the skyball player. He's a hotshot athlete. He's the red, category. And he's just a jerk. But we all love to hate this guy, and his name is Deneb Gratu. Now, there's another person who is Sarpanit Latao. Now, you may know her as the pants lady, the one who got her pants pulled down. So, Sarpanit Latao. Now, we have a very much a person who everybody hates even more than Deneb Gratu, and her name is Thalassa, which is actually a nickname. Her actual name is Tiamat Irtio. Tiamat Irtio. Now, that's actually a name, I believe it's an ancient Egyptian or Greek, again, ancient Egyptian or Greek lifted straight out of there. So it's an actual name. Tiamat Irtio. And she is awful. She is Gwen's nemesis in the games, and we all know that. Now, we have another very big profile player, and his name is Hedge Kukait. And you heard him being referred to, like when he's in the games and all the crowds are screaming, they say cuckoo, cuckoo, because he's a bird. That's like the nickname of him. He's the white bird, and his name again is Hedge Kukait. Hedge Kukait. Now, another person you really want to know how to pronounce is the poor Zap. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's not Zap, but it's Zap. So it's slight elongated A because there's two of them. So Zap Guvai. Zap Guvai is an animal handler, and he's the young boy. He's the first contender that Gwen ran into in the games. Then we have Kateb Nuletat. Kateb Nuletat is the inventor, and he's the guy who has that big helicopter weird weapon, and then he just basically just mows down the enemy with it, and that's why he became, he was basically in demand, and Deneb Gratu took him on. So Kateb Nuletat, and he's the one, he's a yellow inventor. Then we have Tuar Momet. Tuar Momet is the athlete, and he's on Team Gwen Lark, so he's a good guy. And Tuar gets wounded terribly by a Shah in the water, and I'm not going to tell you what happens in Survive, so not more right now, but you may be hearing more about him. Then we have Lolu Itatu. Lolu Itatu is the technician, that little kind of a perky little girl who is a big poisoner, and she gets all these people in the safe base, and then she goes and basically does something really bad for Gwen, but then Gwen forgives her, and so she's back on the team. So it's Lolu Itatu. And we have the mysterious Rurim Kiv. Rurim Kiv is the yellow artist who goes around and steals everybody's information, and he just looks over your shoulder, and he's the one who goes up and down the pyramid, and basically he's a mysterious weird guy. You don't know what to think of him, and he will show up again and survive. So again, Rurim Kiv is the name in the pronunciation. Now we have, let's see, who do we have here? We also have, okay, this character is an interesting character, Avane Lehatut. Avane is the tall, she's shaved her head, so she's a really weird, kind of odd-looking woman warrior, and she's on Team Lark. And we know what happens, but I'm not going to give it away as a spoiler because something interesting happens with Avane. So Avane Lehatut. Now, we have, who else? Did we miss any? We have Chihar Aguay. Chihar Aguay is the guy who is the scientist. Did I have it written down here? Let's see. Did I have it? Where is Chihar? There we go. Chihar Aguaf. Okay, so he's the, Chihar is the very nice, mellow kind of a second scientist that Gwen, actually the second contender that Gwen runs into in the games. And he is, again, Team Lark, Chihar Aguat. Now we have, we have another animal handler, the one who basically is a rival to Zab Guvai. And her name is Litana Chipur. Litana Chipur. And she is, I think she'll show up again and survive. Yeah. Okay. Then we have Ujastenat. Ujastenat is a technician. I think he gets, he's one of the kind of a high-profile players, but again, don't want to give away what happens with him or to him or whatever. So we have Ujastenat. Then we have, okay, everybody's favorite oddball acrobatic entertainer is called Kokai Jeet. Kokai Jeet. He is Team Lark all the way. He's a great guy. He's funny and amusing, and he's the guy who calls everybody love, but it's in Atlanteo, so it's Ambrevet. So he calls, hey, Ambrevet, do this and that, and because he's being silly this way. He's just being kind and friendly by saying Ambrevet. So it doesn't really mean anything much more than that. So we have, let's see, Kokaijit. Then after that we have, another yellow inventor who briefly appears, Larahat Say. She appears, she's one of the first people that Gwen runs into in the first stage. So Larahat Say. And again, what happens to her or with her, we're not going to say. Okay, this is a good one. Okay, this is the drone master, the guy with the drones who cannot be stopped in the games, and everybody's terrified of him. Now, he got a really funny, weird name. It's Oshaharat Feveh. Oshaharat Feveh is the technician drone master, the terrifying, scary, unstoppable, weird, evil guy. So anyway, that's his name, Oshaharat Feveh. And actually, his name doesn't even come up until like later on in the first stage, because I don't think everybody just calls him as the guy with the drones, the scary, scary technician. Okay. Now we have this is a person who was on Team Hedge Kukayet's partner, or not really partner, but his teammate. Her name is Sofia Veforoy. Sofia Veforoy is a vocalist, which means she is Gwen's direct category rival. But because she is a nice person, And you know, she does not act like an asshole to Gwen. You know, I'm not going to tell you what happens later, but anyway, so that's her name. Her name is Sofia Viforoi. And talking about another vocalist, this guy is more of an asshole, and this is Fauzi Boto. Fauzi Boto is the pronunciation, and a lot of people really like his nickname that Bree gave him. Remember Bree, Bree Walton, who is an earthy and former terrorist, and she's basically been incarcerated for most of the beginning of the books after she was in that horrible hostage situation. So anyway, Bree becomes an interesting, fascinating character, and she becomes she's sent into the games to protect Gwen. So she's basically Team Lark, and she has a very kind of a uppity attitude, and she can have a big mouth, and she calls people things. So talking about Fauzi Boto, she calls him Fuzzy Bottom. And that's what he becomes, his really kind of a popular nickname for this guy with a lot of people. So Fauzi Boto. And let's see, did we miss anybody on Team Lark? I don't think so. I think we got everybody. Yep. Let's see. And we got... Yes, we did. Now, let's see what else we can tell you, how to pronounce. Now, as I said, Atlanteo, which is the word for the Atlantean language, it's based on ancient Greek, ancient Egyptian, ancient Persian, ancient Armenian, ancient everything. Now, in general, to also give you an idea, here's some more names, of course. Okay, so we have Ace and Cass, and of course, Cass is how he goes by on Earth before it's revealed who he actually is, and his full name is Cassiope. So Cass is like, just say it in English, Ace and Cass. Now, his call sign is Phoebos. So again, it's a riff off the ancient Greek word phobos and Phoebus, and it's neither one. This is just a kind of a made up name. It's sort of like Phoebus Apollo, the Greek god, but not quite. So it's spelled differently, and I say Phoebos. Okay, so that's his his call sign, and you will find out a lot more about call signs in Survive, because pilots use call signs when they're in flight, and there will be a lot of flight. Okay, so not to give you any more spoilers. Now, we have one of the first Atlanteans who showed up in this series in book 1 was the commander of the fleet, and his name is, try saying this 3 times, as Gwen herself kind of made fun of it. His name is Manakteon Resoi. Manakteon Resoi. Manakteon Resoi. Say that 3 times. Manakteon Resoi. Okay, now we have, let's go back down to the Atlantean imperial family, of course. So we have Cassiope being the dynasty that's lasted for thousands of years on Atlantis and on Earth, because they came from Earth when they were fleeing the ancient alien enemy. So we have the current imperator. That's how you pronounce the rank. It's basically like the English word emperor, or emperor is can be pronounced as imperator in many other languages. So in Russian it's imperator, so it's easy, and I think it may be in some other languages. So imperator is the equivalent of the emperor, and imperator, his first name, the father of Aeson, is Romhutat Cassiope. Romhutat Cassiope. Now, Aeson's mother's name is Devora. Devora Cassiope. And she is the Imperatrice. The Imperatrice. Imperatrice is the female equivalent of Empress. But it's a the pronunciation is different. And to just to remind a lot of people, the full rank is Imperator, and the full rank is Archeon Imperator and Archeona Imperatrice, which means like the supreme leader type of thing. So Archeon Imperator and Archeona Imperatrice. And we have, continuing with the family, we have Aeson's sister. Her name is Manala, Manala Cassiope. And we also have, let's see. Oh, I know what I forgot. Okay. He's not one of, going back to the Astra Daimon, or the Star Demons, the highest ranking Atlantean pilots, who are basically, it's a brotherhood of the best, and there is no actual rank. You don't become a Astra Daimon after a certain point. Like, it's not an automatic rank. You have to be chosen by others, because it's an unspoken rank. It's very much of a, almost like a private secret society type of thing. So anyway, one of the Fab Four are, the ones that I've mentioned is Oala, Kerovat, Xelio, and of course Aeson, and Erita. But we don't want to put him in the same category. It's Nephir Mekei. Nephir is we know him originally as Gwen's culture instructor, and he was one of the Astra Daimon also. And other things happen, and I don't want to give things away. But anyway, so Nephir Mekei is the other one. He's not one of the Fab Four, which is again Erita and Oala and Xelio and Keruvat and Aeson, plus or minus 5. Let's see. So we have, the very, very first Atlantean that Gwen actually met in person. Remember back in Qualify when she was in the school auditorium, and the Atlantean who introduced the kids to the hoverboard? His name was Ligerat Faroi. Ligerat Faroi. And he's the guy who looks very much, her first impression of an Egyptian looking, like an ancient Egyptian guy who looks like somebody who came out of King Tut's tomb. Not like an Arab, but an ancient kind of almost like someone who looks like Nefertiti, which is in English you would say Nefertiti, but Nefertiti is how I would pronounce it if we were speaking Atlantean. So now let's see, we have some of the instructors who were in Compete during the actually when they're already in space, so they're flying on the way to Atlantis, going through the solar system. So we have who do we have? Let's see. Oh, I don't want to forget this guy. He's funny. You guys love him he's the swimming instructor in the first book, Kurume Ateni. Kurume Ateni is the guy with an attitude, and he just basically rags on all the kids and tells them, like, just go drown yourselves, I don't care what you do. I'm your swimming instructor. If you swim laps in the pool, just collapse and go down to the bottom. Or if you're talking, all I have to do is just let me walk by, and then you continue being jerks. So this guy has a real attitude. So it's Kurume Ateni. Now we have a couple of the pilots in the shuttle that took people to the qualification, both the semifinals, and then a different pair took them to the finals. They were piloting the shuttle that took the kids into the games, not the games, but the actual qualification process. So we have Micheleon Vasi and Lirama Ricat. Lirama Ricat and Micheleon Wasi were the first people. I believe they were in the what do you call it? The semifinals going to Los Angeles. So those are the pilots on the shuttle. Now, the ones who were taking them into the subterranean chambers under the ocean, those ones who were for the finals, their names are Ekit J and Radra Vilay. So pilot Ekit J and Radra Vilay. Then we have, going on to Compete, we have more Atlantean characters that I'm sure you want to know how to pronounce their names, and this is a weird one. Okay, this person was the captain of that ship on which first Gwen ended up of this ship. It was not one of the top. It was not an Imperial starship, arc ship. It was just an ordinary ship, and her name was Captain Bekwa Lare. Bekwa Lare was the captain, and her ship was AS 1109. That's the ship that she ended up on, and she was transferred over to the IS 2, which was Aeson's commandership. So we have the name that almost never got mentioned, except I think it was during the hostage situation. We have Tahira Zulay. Tahira Zulay was the command pilot of the third ship, ICS-3. And she was mentioned once. She is going to, I think she will show up again and survive. So don't get your hopes up or down. Okay, we have Mithrat Okoy, who is the pilot instructor. Now, do you remember the pilot classes that Gwen had with Hugo, the jerk guy who was a pilot, and they things happened to them as they were, they were not the best partners. They were horrible together. So Mithrat Okoy was the pilot instructor who taught those classes. Now, some of the other instructors we have on the ships are, we have Nilara Gradat, who was a culture instructor. We have let's see, we have Klavit Sotoy, who was the tech and systems instructor. I believe he is the guy who took him down to the hydroponics deck and all that awesome stuff with hydroponics. That's Klavit Sotoy. Then we have the language instructor, Kior Kla. Tior Kla or Kior Kla, either way is fine. And she was the one who was telling him how languages are basically like synonyms of each other. So she got some good insight for her. Then we have during the zero G dances, we have the music mage, who was this really kind of a dreamy girl, and her name was Vazara Hotat. Vazara Hotat, and she was the one who would change the she would call new gravity settings whenever gravity changes, and gravity changing now, and she was just saying in this really kind of a sexy way, gravity changing now. You can imagine her saying it. And that's Vazara Hotat. And she was the favorite music mage. There were I think a couple other ones during other dances, but she was the one that was most popular, and people asked her to do this task. Okay, now we have other characters. One more. Did I mention Kwarar Ritazet? Kwarar Ritazet was the command pilot of ICS-4. Again, mentioned just once during that uprising when they had the hostage situation. Then we have, who do we have? Oh, another person, Barite Gaido, was one of the ship people, the staff or the shipmen. He was there with the Imperial aides when they were during the zero gravity dances. So he's kind of a friend of Anu, Barite Gaido. And we have, so we mentioned Barite Gaido and we mentioned Vazara Hotat. They're both people during the zero gravity dances. Now we have, let's see. Did I mention this one person? Oh my goodness, yes. There are certain people's names who they were deceased in a shuttle crash. And again, without going into a lot of spoilers, I'm just going to read their names. And Asen was reading their names off. Chiar Nuridat, Felekamen Gori, Tilir Vahad, Tiliar Vahad, not Tilir, oops, Tiliar Vahad, Felekamen Gori, and Chiar Nuridat. So these are the guys who were they're deceased, and you may get to see them in one of the novellas later on. Not in Survive, but one of the they basically because they were Astra Daimon and they were like pilot friends of Asen. So it's kind of a really sad thing that happened. But anyway, so those are the ones. Let's see. So we went through all the royal family. We went through the Astra Daimon. Now we have. Oh, I know what we have. You guys gotta like this. Okay, the servant Miwat. Miwat was the servant on Compete when Gwen was first taken to the palace and she had to get dressed and get ready for all that, for you know what. So that's Miwat is the name of that nice, sweet servant who was just, she only appears once. Then we have the less nice servant, the one who was assigned to her in the palace later. That's Aranit Liwei. She's the imperial maid. Aranit Liwei. And we have let's see. Did I mention? Oh, I know what. I forgot. We have the two guys who were the criminals. They were now correctional security guards at the prison in New Poseidon. Their names are Gavril and Krui. Okay, Krui is the little guy. Gavril is the big guy. As you know, without any spoilers, appearances are deceiving. So these two guys, Gavril and Krui, are reformed criminals. Okay, we have. Oh, you gotta love this. Tiago. Tiago is the guy who runs the show for the Grail games, and his last name is Ghoul. Tiago Ghoul, and he goes by the first name, kind of like Cher. So he's known as Tiago, and his rival, his complete horrible, other TV personality is Buhat Hipace. And the two shows that they have on are like rival for ratings and for who gives you better interpretation of the games and all the feeds. So the rivals are Buhat Hipace and Tiago Gu. All right, now we have council members. I think we're gonna mention. Yeah, we'll get to the council members in a minute. But we also have. Let's see, I don't want to take this up, and I may not have it on this file, but let's see. Oh, I know what. We're going to give you the names of all the people who are the Imperial Executive Council of Atlantida, the IEC. Those are basically it's the Senate of the country, and the name of the country is Imperial Atlantida. And you pronounce it Atlantida. It's a Russian word which means Atlantis. And it's also, I believe, some Latin American countries use the same word, Atlantida, because that's what it is. And I just decided to use it because I like the word. So it's Atlantida. And Imperial Atlantida has the following members of the council. And these are, I think there's some of them. There may be more. But we have Lady Ishtar Sitamun, Lord Asiwet. Then we have Council Member Amasis, Council Member Gobu, Lady Iela Nastasen. We have Council Member Tahat. Then there's the ACA Director, who is important. You'll see a lot of him later on in Survive. ACA Director is the Atlantis Central Agency, ACA Director. Hijep Teophon. Then we have the STA Director. That's the Science and Technology Agency. And his name is Rovad Benu. So Rovad Benu and Hijep Teophon are the two kind of a big, they're council members, and they're also part of the inner crony circle of the Imperator. And we know how that goes. They're actually not bad. It's just like they're sort of in on the dark stuff. And we have... let's see. Oh, the archpriest, basically you call him arch or first priest is the correct term, and his name is Shirachtet. So that's the name. He's the other guy who is on the kind of like the crony circle of the Imperator. His closest advisor. Shirachtet is also the person who basically, with all the other priests of that the denomination, basically they worship Cassiope as a divine. It's a divine line of kings, and he has other priests working with him. I think I'm going to be mentioning more new names, but that's coming in Survive, so we're going to put that out for now. And we have, yes, I mentioned the Atlantean, and we have. Oh, I know what you guys want to know: the name of the horrible, mean lady, Lady Tirinea Fuorai. Tirinea Fuorai, or Lady Tiri. You can say Tiri or Tirinea. And that's her so-called nickname, but people call her Tiri, Lady Tiri, but when it's formal, they would not use that. They would only say it behind her back. But when it's a real, like an introduction situation in court, they would say Tirinea, Lady Tirinea. And we have, see, did I forget anybody? I'm sure I forgot a lot of people. There's so many characters in this book. So these are just names. And if I remember them, I will bring them up in the second part of this because I'm going to need to. Oh my goodness. Yes, of course. How could I forget? There is the Consul Suval Denu. Consul Denu is a favorite character and his assistant is Kim. So Consul Suval Denu, and let's see. Yeah, I think that's the only person that's left here. Yep. Everybody else is Earth names, so you don't need to worry about Earth names because they're pretty basic. And I think I'm going to mention, did I have, oh, we have New Deshret, which is the country on the other side of the planet, and they have a language called Deshi, and we already had a few terms in that language, but I will leave it for another video because it's just too much. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, in the next video, I'm going to give you the terms for the map, you know, the map of Atlantis, which has all these countries on it. This is New Deshret. You know, this one, New Deshret, is the rival of Atlantida, which is right here. So they're like the two hemispheres. This is the upper continent, and then we have the lower continent. You notice how it is, and it's separated. It's really one big ocean, but it's divided into two, and the ocean names are. Let's see if I can't even see what I wrote here. Yehehutlan, and the other one is Jetatlan. So the two oceans are the ones that are surround like a belt going around the planet. Now, I will get into all this because it's just too much. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was like a little linguistic presentation. And again, think of the pronunciation would be, since I am a native Russian speaker, that's my first language. I've studied, I've learned Armenian, because I'm half Russian, half Armenian. So I've learned Armenian when my parents and my grandparents, other family members talked it. But I'm not particularly literate in Armenian. So I can understand and speak it sort of, but I can't really read or write. I've been able to like sort of remember the alphabet and basically at like a really low level. So I'm just a native speaker of Armenian, but not as a first language. Then I've studied Spanish in high school and I'm pretty good at it. I've studied Mandarin Chinese in college and I'm really crappy at it. I've tried to start studying German, but again, I don't think I ever really got the hang. I had like audited one semester, and all these languages together. I love English, obviously. That was my second language. I started to study that in school in Russia, in Moscow. And because of all these languages, I love the pronunciations and making up words and making up weird new languages. And some of my pronunciations, just to kind of give you an idea, ancient Greek, ancient Egyptian, they're more like... the easiest would be to say like Latin or Romance languages. You can pronounce, if you're in doubt how to pronounce a word in Atlanteo, try to pretend it's Spanish or some Italian, and just try to literally spell out every letter, and just don't try to make up weird diphthongs, or don't blend letters like you would in English, but just literally try to spell it out. In most cases that would be correct. There will be a few cases I think I may have had some slightly different pronunciations than from what they look like they're written, but in general, whatever it looks like, that's how you pronounce it literally. And try to think of Spanish, or not French, but Spanish or Italian and Latin. Anyway, so this was a very long video. I hope it didn't bore you to death, and I'm sure I forgot a lot of names, and there's more terms I can get into, but for now, Nefero eos imamrevu, or Nefero dea would be, since we're at it, good day, or good afternoon, Nefero dea, and to say good night is Nefero niktos. So Nefero niktos imamrevu. And by the way, you can get this mug for yourself. It's over at the Zazzle store, and all of this stuff you can see if you go to theatlantisgrail.com. And from there's links to stores and fun stuff, and just I hope you visit it. And and I'm sure you guys want to know when Survive is coming out, and I can't quite tell you because I'm still writing it. I can't do that kind of prediction because my books are huge. They take forever, but I am definitely aiming to be done this year. I have to be done this year. This is my own deadline, and I would love to be done in September, and I would love to have the book out for you in November. But again, this is just a projection, and I cannot promise anything, but I'm going to fight tooth and nail to get it done. Okay, so thank you for bearing with this very long video. I hope you enjoyed it, and neferoniktos imam revu.